Welcome to the Gus as we get ready here for some third place baseball action between Fort Atkinson Fort Hawks, post 166 taking on Ahnapee, post 72 out of Sturgeon Bay. Yeah, he did. So waiting to get the official lineup here from Fort so that I can get everything set up here. Until then, we'll do our best. Grounder to the pitcher. It's number 16, fires it over to first base to get the first out. Both of these teams were 1-1 in pool play. The third place game is between those who took second place in their pool. So Peterson grounds out to the 1-3 putout for the first out, brings up Christian Cunard, the center fielder. Next pitch is in there for a strike. Thanks, Chris, for letting me know. Gabe Stouty is the pitcher for Fort Hawks. Chris did a great job in the last game that I was broadcasting with Fort, providing me with that information, so appreciate that. And we should have pretty soon, I should have the rest of the lineup here coming. So we're running behind schedule. Some good games taking place today. That one's going to be a fly out to right field. That's in fair foul territory. Good job there by the right fielder to track that down to get the next out. Just out of play of the screen. So fly out to the right fielder for the second out brings up Spencer Kraust. The shortstop for Ahnapee. Stouty. Nice breaking ball in there for a strike. Haven't heard back yet. And last game, part of our delay was the umpire behind the plate, Kent Vandekoek, ended up taking a foul ball off the finger. Split the finger open. We think it was broken. But haven't heard back from him, so we're hoping that he is okay, and hopefully he'll be able to reach out and let us know how things are going. Here's the next pitch. Pop fly. Right fielder calls for it again and gets the out for the second or third out of the inning. No runs on no hits, no errors, and nobody left on after one half inning. Ahnapee from post 72, 0. And we'll be back here with
after half an inning. Ahnapee 0 and Fort Atkinson coming up.
The Fort Hawks coming up to bat, post 166. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Gus. Leadoff hitter is Isaac Sievert for the Fort Hawks. From Fort Atkinson, post 166. Takes a swing at that one. 1-1. Jaden Diller, the pitcher, the left-handed pitcher for Ahnapee. I didn't ask the coach what the TB was on their jerseys for. I didn't have a chance to ask for that. Asked them for their nickname, asked them for their post, actually, and they didn't know which post was their representative. And I got stuck after that. So 3-1 is the count. Here's the pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. 3-2. Here's the next pitch. On the outside, hit over to the shortstop. Stays down on it, fires it across. Reaches, drops the ball over at first. Ends up with an error.
Siebert reaches on the ear. Brings up
Still puts a runner on first base.
Schrader on that.
Apparently, no, it's not doing the plate target.
I guess not. No, it's going to be doing the plate for our game.
They tell me he's a stay-at-home dad.
0-1.
You know, I asked him. He does everything. Yeah. How much you think you make a year? He's like, last year probably around 14.
Here's the next pitch. Fires over. Holds the runner.
Not a bad gig, right? So he doesn't work out. He's got a sugar mom or what? I don't know. I don't know what his wife does.
Next pitch in there. A little bit high. 1-1. On the outside makes it 2-1. Down low, 3-1 is the count. Here's the pitch. Drawing the walk. It's number 9, Tyler Narcus. So runners on first and second. Brings up number 20, Carson Schroeder.
Number 20, Carson Schroeder. How do you say that next name, Jeff? Schroeder?
Shane Hare.
Shane here.
Shane Hare is on deck. I think, if I remember correctly, I think I pronounced that wrong, Chris, didn't I? I think it's Schrader, if I remember correctly. But we'll get that fixed. I know you'll help me with that. Nice. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. Gabe Stouty, the pitcher. So we'll talk about that when he comes back up. So I think I want to make sure again that it's Carson Schrader, if I remember correctly, is up to bat. First baseman. 1-1.
Ask her if Gabe Stouty's related to Scott Stouty, the head coach at Burlington.
Thank you very much, Schrader. Takes a cut at that one, 1-2. So Chris Stouty out there helping, Chris Schrader helping me get things fixed. Here's the pitch. Outside. Two and two. Here's the pitch. Coming from Diller. Fouled off by Schrader. ends up striking out for the first out.
Strikes out for out number 1. Brings up
Strikes out
third baseman
swinging.
number 11, Ryan Shanehair.
Brings up Ryan Shanehair, the third baseman, number 11. Still trying to get caught up here with the book and some score sheets, so first pitch into Shanehair is a strike. Runners at first and second for the Fort Hawks. 1-1. Here comes the pitch from Diller. On the outside, protecting. Shanehair fouls that one off. One and two is the count with one out. There, I think got the cheat sheet set up. Here's the pitch. Strikes out for the second out.
Brings up the DH, number 25.
Brings up the DH, number 25, Patty Kelty. Keelty. Might be Keelty.
Okay.
We'll get some help in the pronunciations there. Really appreciate that. Down low for a ball. Keelty DHing for Schrader. Or for Stouty, sorry. The pitcher. Keelty, thank you. Slaps that off to the right-hand side. That's going to go out of play. One and two is what the umpire called for. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball. I think that's what he said. We'll see here.
2-1, right? I think so. Who's got 2-1? 2-1. Yeah, I think he's giving you the Ken.
Yeah, okay, so got it. Hit to the shortstop side, fielding, bobbling it, firing it over to first, and getting the third out.
Keelty grounds out to short. That'll end the inning.
Was Kraust firing it over to
No runs, no hits.
Ninus.
And there were 2 runners left on base. After 1 inning of play, it is Fort Atkinson
for the third out.
Ahnapee tied at 0. 25 pitches, 2-5 pitches.
Did Narcus have a hit?
No, he walked.
He walked. Okay, didn't have it marked. So no runs on no hits, no errors, and 2 left on for post 166 from Fort Atkinson, the Fort Hawks. We'll be back here for the top of the second. 0-0 is the score here from the Gus in Waupun. Third place game for the post 210 Senior Legion Tournament. Welcome back here to the Gus. Still trying to fix my scorebook, so my apologies for the hold up on the announcing. Up to bat for Ahnapee is Luke Steebs, the third baseman. 1 and 2 is the count to Steebs. Charlie Ninus is up on deck. And then Jaden Diller, and goes down swinging is Steebs for the first out.
Number 9, Charlie Ninus. Diller on deck.
Charlie Ninus is now up to bat, first baseman for Ahnapee, post 72 out of Sturgeon Bay. Hit over to the shortstop. Caught him up in the chest, still turns around, tries to fire. Ends up making it safe as that hopped up on block, fired it over to Schrader, and ended up
Pitcher number 25, Jaden Diller.
reaching on an error.
Waiting for the Halloween series to start here any minute.
Cool. I see the Brewers are winning 7-3.
Brings up Jaden Diller, the pitcher. Ball 1 to Diller. Here's the next one. Inside for a ball. Oh, for a strike, sorry. 1-1. Runner over at first. Charlie Ninus. Stouty with the pitch. Just on the outside. 3-1 is the count.
Oh, Kane was hit. No, it's Davis who said he was in 71. Tell me in a minute, I think I can find it.
Big tall lefty fires. Strike 2. Full count here to Diller. Slaps that over to the right-hand side. Ends up getting a base hit. And advances the runner over to second. So base hit, first hit of the game.
First base hit of the game.
Goes to Jaden Diller.
For Tyler Ninus. Lolo on deck.
Tyler Ninus now up to bat. See if we can set the defense here for the Fort Hawks. Behind the plate is Griffiths. Stouty is the pitcher. Schrader is at first. Hartman is at second. Block is at short. Shane Hare is at third. Here's the pitch by Stouty. Strike on the outside edge.
I'm sorry, he's hitting 297. Someone said he's hitting $171 on Facebook. 297 a little bit.
To Tyler Ninus. That one's outside for a ball. In the outfield is Hoth, Sievert, and Narcus. So shared with me in the chat, so if you have an opportunity to go ahead and put some stuff out there. Glad that you're watching from Denver, North Carolina. Thanks. Foul ball off to the right-hand side.
Toronto, then he was with the Yankees. Toronto and the Yankees last year.
Gabe Stouty rolled his first 300 game at age 12, so a big bowler as well. Knows all kinds of strikes, so not only pitching but bowling. Right there, ooh. Not sure where that one missed. Makes it 2-2. Here comes the pitch. Fouls that one off. Still 2-2 to Tyler Ninus, the second baseman. Runners at first and second, only one out. Strike 3. On the inside for a strikeout. Brings up Chris Lodel. The left fielder, I believe, is Lodel. First pitch for a ball. Here's the next pitch. Way inside for a ball. 2-0. Here comes the pitch. Ball on the outside. 3-0 now for Stouty. Right down the middle for a strike. 3-1. Here comes the pitch. Strike 2. Right on the outside edge at the knees. Good pitch there by Stouty. Full count. Runners at first and second. They're moving inside off of the glove. Chance. Good job there by the catcher, Griffiths, to get over there. And bases are now loaded for Ahnapee. Brings up Shinkston. The catcher for Ahnapee.
Thank you.
Bases loaded.
Courtesy runner is Will Jandon.
Oops, I didn't have those. I'll write those down. Thank you very much. Will Jandren will be the courtesy runner for the pitcher. First pitch on the outside for a strike to Shinkston.
You got it right, that means. Good call, sir. Hey, back on two.
Runner did not advance on that wild pitch. Stayed at home. Charlie Ninus.
Probably an ESPN 2.
Here comes the next pitch from Stouty. Right down the middle, fouled off to the right-hand side out of play. 1-2. Next pitch in there for a ball. So deuces are wild up on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Shinkston. Here's the pitch by Stouty. On the outside, a little bit high. 3-2. Here's the pitch. In the dirt, ends up walking in the first run
That'll bring in the first run of the ball game.
for Ahnapee.
And with the
Bases are still loaded. Brings up the top of the order, Jack Peterson,
Peterson is the hitter.
the right fielder. Coach comes out to have a conversation with Stouty. While we're doing that, we're going to take a break and let me give him a chance to keep my book cleared up and defense set. We'll be back. Courtesy runner back here. Base hit hard over to the second baseman for at least a single. 2 runs will score.
2 runs.
Overthrows the second baseman.
That's a 2-run single.
Nice hit there by Peterson.
Not like Hartford last night. Looks like
Brings up center fielder number 13, Christian.
2 runs scored, and it's now 3-0.
Randy catches a foul ball and only stayed home, got tagged up.
Shingston ends up over at third. And a single for Peterson at first. Brings up Christian Cunard, the center fielder. Here's the pitch. Apologize for that. I normally try and switch that with the camera, but I was caught off guard, so my apologies. That home plate camera. You can see the runners at first and third. Here's the pitch by Stouty. Hit over to the shortstop, fielded, flips to second for the third out.
Cunard grounds into a fielder's choice to retire Ahnapee.
For the third out after batting 8 players. So I've got them down for 2 hits. 3 runs on 2 hits. 1 left on. And 1 error.
They scored 3 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, 2 runners left on base. After 1.5, 3-0 in favor of Ahnapee.
3-0 after 1.5 here. Ahnapee post 72.
32 pitches, 45 for the game. 45.
45 so far total pitches for Stouty. We'll be back here for the bottom of the second inning. Again, thanks to Jim Stegleaf. Stegall, sorry about that. Watching from Denver, North Carolina, so really appreciate that. Feel free to put anything in the chat that you wish. Let other people know that they can watch this game, so text it to friends, family, anybody that hasn't had a chance to see these ball players play. Here's the opportunity. We'll be back here for the bottom of the second. Leading off here in the second inning for the Fort Hawks, Alex Block. Shortstop. First pitch there by Diller to Block is a ball on the outside. Here's the next pitch. Inside for a ball. 2-0. Here's the pitch. A little bit high. 3-0. Post 166. The Fort Hawks from Fort Atkinson up to bat. Here's the pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. 3-1. Got to get used to Austin calling. He likes to call him a little bit later. Here's the next pitch. Hit to the pitcher, fields it. Diller flips it over to Ninus for the out.
The pitcher for the first out. Brings up the catcher, number 22.
Brings up Braden Griffiths. Catcher.
Sweatshirt went on. Damn it. Really? Let me turn the heat up a little bit.
Here comes the pitch by Diller. Inside for a ball. One out here for the Fort Hawks. Ooh, ball 2. Two and 0. That's a strike. 2 and 1. Here comes the pitch by Diller. Strike at it by Griffith. 2 and 2.
We have 49 outlaws here tonight.
Why so many tonight?
Who's 6'8"?
Diller doesn't like the call. Here comes the pitch. High.
3 heats of 8
3 and 2.
and 1 of 9 last night.
Who said push? That's what it said.
Full count. Nobody on for the Fort Hawks. Here's the pitch. Inside. Walks him.
Griffith draws a 1-out walk.
Brings up Tyler Hartman now to bat. Number 4, or the number 10, playing second base.
What do you think they had to pay to get the Outlaws for 2 days?
What?
Number 4, courtesy running.
Courtesy runner coming in is Drew Enger
Courtesy runner.
for the catcher, Griffiths.
What was that, Derek?
How do you think they got the Outlaws for 2 days?
I don't know. That is a very good.
Trailing 3-0 here, the Fort Hawks here in the bottom of the second inning. Trying to see if they can get themselves on the board. Diller, the lefty, really is holding the runner tight. Here's the pitch. Fouls that one off.
Oh, it's Saturday night for sure. Ballacane. They're awesome.
Country.
Yeah.
0 and 1.
I can't come Friday, but I can come Saturday.
I can't go Friday. I'm in a wedding. Supposed to be an usher until last night. They said, hey, one of our
Maybe
groups
not
can't
49.
do it.
It must not be.
Here's our next pitch.
Went from paying
Must be about the same. They got
50
3
bucks for a
heats.
shirt and pants to paying 160.
Nice breaking ball there by Diller.
Bastards.
0 and 2.
It's Haley's sister.
0 and 2 with 1 out. Enger sitting over at first base.
Same place.
Here's the next pitch. Outside, grabbed it nicely there by Shinkston.
I don't know where I saw.
1 and 2.
Remember the cooler guy at Sam's wedding?
Yeah.
What do we call him? Coleman.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Coleman, cooler.
Garden the cooler or what?
Yeti.
No, I thought we called him.
Here's the next pitch.
Yeti Coleman.
Fouls that right in front as a bunt. Advances the runner. Basically, a swinging bunt. Gets thrown out by the catcher.
Runner advances.
For the second out, brings up Braden Hoth.
I should have waited till Otis was up.
Yeah, but they were the 4th.
Brings up left fielder, number 2, Brandon Hoff.
Enger advances over to
Bob, you still got his dinner paid?
second.
Do I? Otis has it in his bag.
Put it in his bag.
Here's the pitch. Gets away from the catcher, Shingston, and it ends up moving the runner over into third.
That's right, I remember that. Tara, because he were full transits after that. Tara swung over, or she might have came back a little early.
She came back.
All dressed up to the 9. Where's Otis?
Here's the pitch. Ball.
Oh, then Otis went to poetry after he was there when I got there.
Was he there? Yeah. Shady bastard.
2 and 0 is the count with 2 down. The Fort Hawks trying to score that run at third. Fouled off by Hoth.
That's the swing you're going to take on. 2-0. Might be right.
2 and 1.
You know the JV games went quicker than the varsity games?
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Right on the outside edge for a strike. Makes it 2 and 2.
They sure did.
Here comes the next pitch by Diller. Dealing. Slapped that one foul. Just protected on the outside. Knew he couldn't do much with it, but did a good job of protecting the plate by Braden Hoth. Diller with the next pitch coming here. Breaking ball. Little pop fly. Texas Leaguer gets it and takes a little spin and ends up scoring the run and getting on with a single. It's Hoth.
Base hit for Holt. Now we're driving a run.
And the RBI to score Griffiths or Inger for Griffiths.
Center fielder number 21, Isaac Sievert.
Brings up Isaac Sievert to the top of the order. Center fielder.
That didn't take long to get some runs for Ole Miss. Washburn get the start.
Here's the pitch by Diller. Fouls that one off.
He's at Ole Miss. Well, he was at Oregon State. He was at Webster. And then his youngest son is at Texas Tech. He's a freshman.
3-1 is the score here on the scoreboard at the Gus. Here's the next. Oh, they got him leaning. Trying to get him at picked off. Sails it into center field. So that's a chance here for the runner to get all the way over to third. Nice play. Sorry again about not flipping the camera. Got to get situated where I'm sitting here. I can't see the post, so I end up trying to watch the game instead. So I'll have to shift over a little bit. Hoth gets all the way over to third on the overthrow from the first baseman. Oh, and 1 is the count to Isaac Sievert. Breaking ball hangs. 1-1. Diller, the pitcher here for Ahnapee. Right down the middle. That's hit hard right at the center fielder, though, for the out.
Out to center for out number 3.
For the third out.
1 run. 1 hit.
1 run on 1 hit. 1 error and 1 left on.
Complete. Ahnapee 3, Fort Atkinson 1.
3-1 is your score. Post 166 from Fort Atkinson, trailing post 72 from Ahnapee. We'll be back here for the top of the third. You're listening to Jeff Sauer here on Jeff's live stream. Hope you're enjoying this broadcast of Post 210 Legion, Senior Legion baseball tournament down here at the Gus in Waupun, Wisconsin. Up to bat now for Ahnapee, post 72, Spencer Kraust. Shortstop for Ahnapee with the lead, 3-1. That one gets underneath the glove of the catcher Griffiths. Stouty down 2-0 in the count.
That'll make it interesting.
Here comes the pitch. Ball.
Anybody take the 8th grade job yet for Pickards?
3-0.
He was on there.
Who was doing it?
Mason did it this last year.
that's right.
He's non-conference schedule for us.
Here's the next pitch.
WLA,
Walks him
campus work,
Oh, Strauss will lead
in
off
4
the
straight pitches.
Beaver Dam, New London.
Brings up third baseman, number 5, Luke Steves. Ninus on deck.
Luke Steeb's up to bat now at number 5, the third baseman.
That's me.
Mason,
maybe 500.
he's the head. Walker's not coaching girls this year.
Oh, he's not?
So Mason's the head assistant.
Runner over at first with a good lead with the lefty Stouty on the mound.
WLA went to about half.
Pitch once again for a ball. Stouty struggling to find the strike zone right now.
Defend a 3-pointer to save your life.
I was doing the book that day.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. That's a strike.
5 points and a half.
1-1.
We're not even getting 40, so.
That Ethan Cole. Yeah, in baseball, he hit 40. He hit a ton. School record.
Steve's over at first base. Here's the pitch. Inside. Good grab there by Griffith. 2-1. You're watching some post 210 Legion baseball here from Waupun. Third place game. Snap throw over there to first. Doesn't get him. 2-2 is the count. Here comes the pitch. Ball, full count now. So Kraust is the one that is over at first base. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss for the first out.
Throw number 1.
Brings up the first baseman, Charlie Ninus.
Number 9, Charlie Ninus. Diller is up next.
Ninus reached on the error by the shortstop in the second inning and then came around to score the first run of the game. Spencer Kraus still over at first base. Pitch outside for a ball.
Pitch into my pay.
14 away games.
Pitch into my pay. There's got to be more though, because you're gonna have.
Here's the next pitch. Fly ball out to right, tracking it down. Is Narcus gets the out. Forces Kraus to get back out to the first base. For the second out, brings up Jaden Diller, the pitcher.
Yeah, the big monitors.
Is it there?
Video board.
Oh, no, the video board's up.
Okay, that's what must
You wanna see
He
the
said
survey?
TV.
Yeah, no, I was still working at the school when they put that page up.
Here's the pitch by Stouty. Stolen base. Griffiths picked it up. Ended up firing it down after Kraus ends up getting the stolen base.
Shit, that's actually pretty nice. One ball.
Ball one. Here comes the next pitch. Hit over towards the third baseman. Fields it clean. Fires over to one. Picks it up for the third out.
Diller grounds out to third base for the final out in the inning. No runs, no hits.
No runs on no hits.
One left on base.
No errors and one left on.
For Atkinson, 1.
After 2.5, 3-1, Ahnapee with the lead over the Fort Hawks of Fort Atkinson, post 166. We'll be back here for the bottom of the third. You're listening to Jeff Sauer here on Jeff's Live Streams. Leading off in the bottom of the third inning, Tyler Narcus flies that one out to right side. Flipping up the glasses and making the catch out there is Peterson.
Nice running catch out there by Peterson. Retired Marcus for out number 1.
Gets the first out, one pitch. Pop fly out to the right fielder for the out.
I think 16's a good number. I don't know where you go after that.
It just gets crowded in there, I would think. You know what, I'd find a kid that's just the loudest guy.
Here's the pitch. Gets underneath. Ball 1 by Diller. 1-0. 1-0 is the count with 1 out.
Randy said he didn't have his phone on him, that's why he didn't get back to me.
Strike 1. 1-1 is the count.
He was hitting 179 this year.
Here's the pitch by Diller. Flies that one out to the right side again. That one's in foul territory. Given chase, just couldn't get there is Peterson. Makes it 1-2.
That's all it said. Cooper's shirt that he wore to BP that one day. What is it? Sluts.
1-2 with 1 out here. Fort needs to get that offense rolling. Pop fly. Diving and dropping it is the right fielder. Good try there by Peterson. Ends up as a single.
The third baseman, number 11, Ryan Shanahan. Guilty on deck.
Tough play out there for the right fielder to come running after it, and the wind was pushing it the opposite direction, so wind was initially blowing in, shifting a little bit, blowing across third base. Runner over at first now for Fort. Steps over, fires. It's Carson Schrader.
Is he the one that said something to some fairy fat kid?
With the single. Brings up Ryan Shane here. Here's the pitch. Strike on the outside edge. There's the pitch. Fouled off to the right-hand side by Shaner.
So all of a sudden the next day,
0-2.
I called to my dad. He goes, "Yeah, I have a meeting." Yeah, I don't know if it's true.
0-2 with 1 out.
I was like, let me guess, it was number 18. He goes, yeah.
Here comes the pitch. Fouled off on that breaking ball. Nice job there by Shaner to stay in there. Keeps it at 0-2 with 1 out.
He's on the mound. He's taking signs like this.
Like three-finger brown out there.
Set, and he goes.
Diller ready with the pitch. Here's the delivery. Ball, 1-2. Carson Schrader over at first, flip throw. Dives in there. Here's the pitch. Drilled out to right field again, right at Peterson. Catches it.
Shanahan right lines out to right.
For the second out over at right.
Brings up DH number 25, Patty Silky.
Brings up the designated hitter, Patty Keelty. Schrader still over at first. Breaking ball for a ball. Stays on the outside.
11.
Two outs here for the Fort Hawks. Trying to get something rolling with their offense. Step throw. Here comes the pitch. Runner takes off, fouls that one off. It's Keelty. That's a good jump there by Schrader. I think he would have had that stolen.
What's Wyatt doing this summer?
Mowing lawns. Tom recheck. Pay him $14.
1-1 is the count with 2 outs.
Should almost go to Canada right now.
Is that where they're fishing?
Yeah.
I'm off. It's 1-2, right?
Here's the pitch. High. 2-2. Oops. 2-1.
She's coming around.
Save one.
Here's the pitch. 3-1 now to Keelty.
That's what you're talking about. 3-1.
Here comes the pitch. Hit hard right at the shortstop. Snow cones it for the out. That was a good hard hit, but a line out.
Keelty lines out for out number 3. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. 2.5 innings of play.
No runs on 1 hit,
3-1 in favor of Ahnapee.
1 left on. No errors.
15 pitches.
After 3 complete, 3-1 Ahnapee. Post 72 with the lead over post 166 from Fort Atkinson, the Fort Hawks. We'll be back for the top of the 4th. Ahnapee, number 4, Tyler Ninus. Chris Lodel on deck. Here's the pitch. 1-1 by Stouty. Fouled off. 1-2.
You hanging out with your Red last night?
He never called me.
He must not have. The wedding must have put him over the top.
Here's the next pitch. Inside. 2-2.
Cause
He didn't go down to Oliver.
I can only imagine that wedding was flowing some beer.
It looked like they were having a good time when they came to the Ardmore.
Stouty delivering. Strike 3 looking
Ninus strikes out for out number 1.
for the first out.
Brings up left fielder number 2, Chris Lodel. Shinkton on deck.
Brings up number 2, Chris Lodel. Lodel walked. Came around and scored. In the first, or in the second.
Maybe in the 3rd.
Ball 1.
We got a big fellow on the hill out there.
Fouls that one off. Makes it 1-1.
We were just seeing if he had a lineup from Sean.
Yeah, should be one in there for today.
Here comes the pitch. Little bit high. 2-1.
Into the game changers on that scramble.
Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. 2-2. Stouty ready to deliver. Here's the pitch. Little bit low. Full count now to Lodel. Right on the inside edge for a strike.
Little strikes out.
Second one looking.
2. Brings up catcher.
Brings up the catcher, number
Peterson.
7,
Top of the order.
Devin Shinkston. Two down here for Ahnapee. Fouls that, dribbles that right out in front of the catcher. Fires down to first. Ends up beating it out. Griffiths couldn't get out of the box quite quick enough and ends up beating out on that infield hit. Brings up the top of the order, Jack Peterson.
Batter is top of the order, number 9. Jack Peterson, number 6. Did it again. I hate when you get the low numbers like that are position players.
Come on. So only like
Jake hit after Evan.
yes.
Takes off running right off the bat. Stolen base for Shinkston. Actually, I'm not sure if they came in with a courtesy because Shinkston's the catcher, so they may have come in with a courtesy and I missed it. Nope, he's still out there running for himself. Stouty trying to get out of this inning without giving up another run. 1-1 to Peterson. Peterson had a hit the last time up to bat. Missing the second baseman and ends up allowing the runner to advance. Not sure why they're worried about that runner. Now we've got him at third. In scoring position. One and one with two down. Here's the pitch to Peterson. On the outside, slaps over to left. Over his head. All the way to the fence. That's going to score the run. That's going to be a double. They're going to hold him at 2. Peterson with a nice take and hit up to the opposite direction.
Gets his second hit of the ball game and it drives in a run. Brings up center fielder number 3.
Second hit and an RBI for Peterson. Brings up Christian Cunard.
That was a 1-1. Yeah, 1-1 count.
Yep.
Just felt like I missed one there.
Here's the next pitch by Stouty. Ball high.
11, 12, 15, 16, 75.
Here comes the next pitch. Right down the middle for a strike.
Where's that Ruiz again there? I'll take it.
Austin second.
Here's the next pitch by Stouty. On the outside. Hit over to the shortstop. Good job there fielding it. Fires it across, but he's safe. Then taking off and getting to third. And got him out at third. A nice job there. Instead of taking off right away. Peterson gets picked off, so as a single for Cunard. Gets the hit. And then ends up getting thrown all the way back across to a 3-5 play for the third out.
1 error.
1 run on 3 hits, 1 error, and nobody left on. 4-1, Ahnapee post 72 over the Fort Hawks of Fort Atkinson. We'll be back for the bottom of the fourth. 77 total pitches for Stouty after 4 innings. So did Steebs move over to first?
Number 4, I think, is at first.
Tyler Ninus?
I think so.
It's a little difficult without the game changer to be able to pick up those defensive changes till they swing their back to you. So first pitch, or second pitch coming in to Alex Block. Third pitch, 2-1. Ninus fires for a strike. 2-2. Gets him swinging for the first out.
Number 1. Now to bring up the catcher, number 22, Braden Griffiths. Hartman is up next.
Brings up now Braden Griffiths up to bat. Griffiths reached on a walk in the second. Ended up coming around and scoring the only run so far for Fort. Time for them to get those bats rolling here. Bottom of the fourth inning. Inside for a ball. Tyler Ninus is moved over to first. Trying to figure out who's over at second.
Number 5. So Steve's went to second base.
So Steve's shifted over. And Jandrin came in at,
He came in for Dillard.
and he's at third. Two one is the count. Excuse me. 3-1.
He wants to put that pinky out too. Then also they quick puts it down. Don't you remember Slaney last week? It was the same thing.
Here's the next pitch. Hits him right in the helmet.
Derek might need some.
Yep, it's bleeding.
Actually hit him in the eye. Hope Griffith's okay. They're walking him to the bench. They got a kit there. They're getting him some ice. Coach Stanky went downstairs quickly to get the first aid kit to get some help with that. We're going to step away here while we're waiting to see how Braden Griffiths is doing. He was able to walk off on his own. We'll be back.
7-3 final.
Back here to live action.
Live action.
FCC will come at us. What is going on?
So it looks like that they're just treating. It looks like he got a little bit of a cut above the eye, so they're just treating him a little bit for that cut. I haven't heard whether he will need any stitches. We'll find out here in a little bit. Good sportsmanship though by Ahnapee's pitcher Charlie Ninehouse. Went in there and apologized for losing control of that pitch. Over at first base now running is Drew Enger. 2-1. For Tyler Hartman. Going out to have a conversation with his pitcher is Shinkston. Must have noticed something, trying to help out his pitcher. So runner over at first with one out. Fort Atkinson trying to get something rolling here. Strike two.
Ducks are flying.
Oh, when I get from that,
Dragonflies are.
yeah.
Hartman. Here's the pitch. Right on the outside edge and gets him looking for the strikeout.
Oh, yeah.
Brings up left fielder, number 2, Brandon. Oh.
For the second out.
Injured on deck.
Brings up Braden Hoth.
Is that the catcher Bob you got hit?
Yes.
Right down the middle for a strike.
Call Kyle Williams. Have her return from her honeymoon early with
0-1 with two outs. Here in the top of the bottom of the fourth, I thought this was.
It is. It is.
Oh and 2. Here's the pitch by Ninus. On the outside edge, gets him looking for the strikeout.
Looking for out number 3. In the inning, no runs.
So 3 outs all by the strikeout.
1 runner left on base.
No runs, no hits, no errors.
4 remain.
1 left on.
4 for Atkinson 1.
After 4 complete, 4-1 Ahnapee. 18 pitches for Ninus. We'll be back here for the top of the 5th. Yeah, I was able to get that. I think 10 moved over to third, but I don't know who's out right. Unless Stouty must have gone out there. That's who it was, the pitcher, Stouty. Welcome back to the Gus here. Top of the fifth inning, first pitch in here with a pitching change is Narcus now pitching. Strike 2.
I think Stouty could be out there because then they'd lose the DH. Well, I guess he could. He'd just be hitting the DH spot.
What did he hit for himself?
Spencer Kraust.
No, he can't. That's right. Yeah, so he has to be in there.
Here's the next pitch. Hit hard over to the third baseman. Booted as there was a defensive change as Hartman came over from second over to third.
The air.
So Kraust reaches on an error. So a whole bunch of defensive changes from what I can tell. It looks like Stouty moved from pitcher out to right. Enger came in for Griffiths for running, and he's over at second. Hartman moved over to third. And Narcus is now pitching. Shane Hare moves into the catching spot. Looks like they're just still putting some pressure over there on the eye to try and stop the bleeding. It looks from what I can see here in the dugout. 1-0 from Narcus to Luke Steebs. Just trying to get the bleeding probably to stop before they can take a good look at it over there. But it's good to see that he's upright. Doesn't look like there's any issues. Off the end of the bat. Good job there by the center fielder, Seaver, to run that one down and get the out.
And that brings up the pitcher, number 9, Charlie Ninus. Jandren on deck.
So Seaver comes flying in there from center and is able to get the first out. Brings up Charlie Ninus. With a runner over at second. Ball. Here comes the pitch by Narcus. Ooh. Misses. Good job there. That's going to get past, and now they're going to let the runner move. Some errors here.
Who's that, Aaron?
The catcher threw it over the pitcher. Allows the runner to get to third. 2-0 is the count. Here's the pitch. Outside and low. 3-0. So Kraus sitting over at third after reaching by the error. Here comes the pitch. Right down the middle for a strike. 3-1. Shane there was looking at keeping the runner close over at third. Here comes the pitch. Fouls that one off. Protect the plate. Makes it 3-2. One down here for the Ahnapee defense. Hit hard in the gap in left center. Drives in the run. Turns into a single.
Ninus singles. And that'll drive in Kraus. Annapee's fifth.
A hit and an RBI makes it 5-1 now here for Ahnapee.
That'll bring up third baseman, number 8, Will Jandren. Ninus on deck.
Number 8, Will Jandren, coming in to hit.
Derek Shinkton courtesy runner at first.
Derek Schickston comes in as a courtesy runner for the pitcher. Gets away from Shane here, allows the runner to advance to second. On the wild pitch. 1-0 to Will Jandrin, coming in for his first at bat. Outside for a ball by Narcus. 2-0.
Carson's 8th U team won 2 games today.
Base hit over to the shortstop, picks it up, fires over to first to get the out.
Jandrin grounds out 2 short for out number 2. That'll bring up first baseman number 4, Tyler Ninus. Lordell on deck.
2 outs now here for Ahnapee, brings up number 4, Tyler Ninus. Here's the pitch. Ball, a little bit high. To Ninus. The top of the 5th. Excuse me. That's hit pretty hard. Pop fly. Shortstop calls for it and gets the out. As Block gets underneath it for the 3rd out.
For out number 3. In the inning, they score 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 error, and there was 1 runner left on base. After 4.5 innings of play, score is now Ahnapee 5. And Fort Atkinson 1.
1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left on. Your score after 4.5 is 5-1. Ahnapee post 72. 17 pitches for Narcus. We'll be back for the bottom of the 5th, where Fort Hawks post 166 coming at the bat to see if they can push a couple more runs across.
I thought they scored 6.
Sievert, 2-2 is the count to Sievert. That one hangs on a little bit, ends up going in the dirt. 3-2, full count here. Fort trying to make sure they can get some runs pushed across here to get themselves back into this game.
Is that Mile High Club type stuff here? They broke up.
Narcus on deck. High and draws the walk. That's what they need. They need runners on base.
That'll bring up the pitcher number 9, Tyler Narcus. Schrader on deck.
Tyler Narcus up to bat. Ninus ready to deliver. High. Ball 1. Ball 2. 2-0. Oh, no, we haven't. We haven't had lightning yet. 3-0. All of a sudden, a freak storm is going to pop up with lightning delay. Nope. Runner takes off, squares the bunt, pulls back for the strike. Stolen base. What'd you
Dr. Ferris.
Christy Sauer was in there.
Was she?
Christie saves the day.
3-2 is the count. Fouls that one off.
Seen a ton of those today, too.
Yeah, it's dug out.
Sees the dugout? Would start wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
We have to call Kyle and get one. She's at her honeymoon right now. Hey, by the way, we need you to refill our med kit. Can you come home early?
Ninus ready to deliver, fires. Breaking ball and gets the strikeout for the first out.
Number 1 brings up the first baseman, number 20, Carson Schrader. Shane here on deck.
Brings up Carson Schrader.
Just got a flush. He didn't say it one time last night. I know. He didn't say it one time last night.
Runner over at second. Sievert.
Jacob.
Ball inside
Fuzz his nerves.
to Carson Schrader.
Why?
Because he kept on saying flush. You just got flushed. He said it like probably like 50 times in an inning and a
Oh
half.
my God, we got Bobby.
Well,
Here's the pitch.
hold on.
In a strike, 1-1.
Pretty good or what?
I think they got 32 hits this weekend.
Here comes the pitch by Ninus. Where's the pitch clock?
That's it. Yeah, I got Warren this year. My pitcher got Warren. He was almost counting in his head 20 seconds.
Is there a pitch clock?
There is.
20 seconds.
High school and leisure.
Oh, I did not know
Leisure
that.
is 12.
Oh, it was longer than 12 seconds.
12 seconds? From the time they get on the mound? On the rubber?
Time the batter is in the box and the pitcher is on the rubber.
Really?
Right now would be 12 seconds.
Yeah, it's only 10. When did they implement that, or has it always been in play?
That's the MLB just put that one in. And high school just went to it a couple of years ago.
Okay. I just was learning. We were just having a conversation about the pitch clock. I didn't know there was such a thing. So
The same as the NBA free throw shot. It's highly important.
strike. Fouls that one off. Staying alive in the batter's box. It's Carson Schrader.
So I went over to the pumping light. So can you show me how you got 20 seconds? He goes, oh, I can do my head.
Turn around and throws over to second with a 4-run lead.
Check again. Check the third time that time. And then he's
1-2. Here's the pitch. Gets him swinging for the strikeout.
Schrader strikes out for out number 2.
Brings up the catcher, Ryan Shanehair.
Better will be the catcher, number 11, Ryan Shane here.
pitching at 5 or 6 seconds longer the next time. I'm like,
Here's the pitch. Outside, but a strike swinging. Shanehair struck out in the first. Flew out to right in the second. Almost wore that one. A little bit tight under the chin. 1-1.
I missed his umping debut.
Yeah, I know. Today too. Yeah.
The bases?
Kent was doing the plate. Tim Bresser was in the field. Kent took a foul ball.
Here's the pitch.
With a finger.
On the outside. Strike.
He went in. It was clean ball. Well,
1-2 with 2 outs.
so Tim put the gear on. I went to the plate. I went to the bases. And then Randy Bresser pulled in about 4 minutes later.
Gets him swinging for the third out.
Strikes out for out number 3. In the inning, no run. No hits, no errors.
No runs, no hits.
After 5,
Berlin, that, like,
5-1.
so he was, I don't,
Second base
Ahnapee.
was
I
Christian.
don't remember what the play was, but he was round in second, and the catcher threw
No errors and one left on.
and tagged him out before he got to the
Short
bag.
was.
So I called him.
22
After
pitches,
5
40,
complete.
total 40.
40 pitches for Ninus.
Mistake by playing.
I said, you're out. That was bad base running. Go back to the dugout.
Top of the 6th. Coming up here with Chris Lodel,
Yeah, if you think the guy behind the
Devin
plate
Shixton,
did better than I did, right?
and Jack Peters. Top of the 6th. Leading off, number 2, Chris Lodel. 2-0 is the count. Tyler Narcus is the pitcher still for Fort Atkinson. Here's the pitch. Hit hard. Out to left over his glove. Don't know if it hit his glove or not, but I think that's going to be an error on Hoth.
Odell reaches on the air. Brings up the catcher, number 7, Devin Shington. Peterson on deck.
Brings up now Devin Shinkston.
I mean, he had some balls.
Dude, yeah, he puts barrel on it, forget about it. He's just an art.
He hit a couple balls, but it's just like.
Here's the pitch. Outside, gets away from Shane here. It's going to allow runner to advance over to third. In there safe. Here's the pitch. Hit over to the second baseman. Holds the runner, gets the out at first. Good play there by the drawn-in defense.
Second baseman for out number 1.
First out.
Brings up top of the order, right fielder, number 6, Jack Peterson. Cunard on deck.
Brings up Jack Peterson. Leadoff hitter here for Ahnapee. Here comes the pitch. Inside for a ball. Runner over at third. Here's the pitch. Hit hard, pulled down the line, foul. 1-1. Lodel at third. Here's the pitch by Narcus. Hit to the first baseman. Good job there. Gets the out. Fires at home. Slides underneath it. It was a good play there, but a good better base running
Grounds out to
by Lodel.
unassisted. Run scores on the play.
The second out
That'll bring up
brings up Christian Cunard.
fielder, number 13, Christian Cunard. Crow's on deck.
The car was coming and kind of, and then he went in the ditch and then they said it flipped a couple times and the black Panther ended up right on the side.
Here's the pitch. Pop fly. Going after it is Narcus, and it goes out of play. As well as Shane Harrow is trying to give chase. Got a post right here, so I can't see everything that's taking place there on the field. 6-1 now. Ahnapee, post 72, leading. Oh, and 1, Narcus ahead in the count. That for Ahnapee. Second mistake judging the ball there for the left fielder. For Fort. Here's the pitch. Way high, ball. Here comes the next pitch. Narcus, right down the middle, pops that one up. Everybody's giving chase. The catcher calls for it and gets the out for the third out.
Pops out to the catcher for out number 3.
Hustle in, hustle out.
One run on
One hit.
one hit,
error.
one error, and one left on.
After 5.5. Scores now.
After 5.5, 6-1, Ahnapee post 72 with a lead over the Fort Hawks of Fort Atkinson, post 166. 29 for the game. 29?
29.
He had 17, I thought, in the first. Did I write that wrong?
12 more is 29.
Oh, he only had 12? Okay. That's right, they were going after him. Yep, you're right. Welcome back to the Gus. Up to bat now, number 16, Gabe Stouty, and batting for himself as he came in defensively. Oh, and 2 for Stouty here in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the pitch. On the outside, goes down swinging
Stouty strikes out for out number 1.
for the first out for the Fort Atkinson Fort Hawks. Brings up now Alex Block. Check swing for Block.
Another one hit the dugout.
Yep. I'm wearing a helmet down there, I'm telling you.
Way things are going today, right?
Might put a mask on.
0-1 with one out.
You will catch them. I might have to.
Here's the pitch by Ninus. Right on the outside for a strike. 0-2. Fort having a hard time getting those bats rolling. Chop that one over to the second baseman. Fields it cleanly. Fires out for the out over at first.
The second for out number 2.
Second out by Block.
They'll bring up second baseman number 4, Drew Enger. Hartman out there.
Drew Enger up to bat as he came in for the catcher. Just a quick update on Braden. He does have a pretty good gash, I guess, is from what Coach Stanky was letting us know. So he's going to have to probably have some stitches, but they've taken care of him really well down at in the dugout area. 0-1 with 2 outs to Drew Enger. Here's the pitch. 0-2 right on the outside. So Ninus starting to figure it out. Here's the pitch. Gets him swinging. Fires down after the drop and gets the out at home.
Guess I shouldn't say whole 1 year, huh?
3 up and 3 down. 2 with a strikeout. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on.
Call that an immaculate inning.
Yeah, that was the fastest inning.
I believe they call that an immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 9 strikes.
Really?
Yeah.
All 3 Ks.
No, there was.
It's not immaculate.
That's not immaculate.
Gotta strike them all out. Good inning.
Brings up our bottom of the 6th inning.
9
Nope.
pitches, 49 total. 49.
Top of the 7th is Ahnapee coming up to bat with their 6-1 lead. We'll be back. One pitch flies out to the center fielder with a good catch there by Sievert.
For out number 1.
We'll come down.
Brings up the
Have a couple
pitcher.
refreshments.
Number 9, Charlie Knight.
So Luke Steeves flies out after the first pitch
For that, I grabbed my own cooler.
for the 1 out.
It's freaking thirsty out here.
Charlie Ninus up to bat, the pitcher.
Bobby, how you doing?
Wonderful.
Here comes the pitch. Ball on the outside, 1-0.
You should have said Ubers.
One out here for Ahnapee. Here's the pitch inside by Narcus. 1-1.
That's who has the big Paul Miller lights. The gas station in Manitoba did.
Get our
They just
lineup.
got they picked one up this morning at 9:30 out on the morning track center field.
Really?
Off the end of the bat, flying out again to the center fielder, Sievert.
24th back?
Linus flies out to center for out number 2.
For the second out,
Brings up third baseman number 8, Will Jandren.
Will Jandren comes up to bat.
Here's our lineup then.
Wait.
So, you know, I'll put it kind of right by the book there.
You got the other one too?
No, not yet.
No, we haven't gotten the one yet for them. Two outs. Narcus on the delivery. Over line drive. Nice play there by the third baseman, Hartman, to dive and pick that off. Great defensive play. Third out.
No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left.
No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on.
5 pitches.
After 6.5 complete, 6-1. 34 total for Narcus.
What's going on these last 2 innings?
That doesn't happen all frickin'
We'll be back here for the bottom of the 7th, last at bat. Gus, bottom of the 7th inning, last chance here for the Fort Hawks to get something going. Brings up number 10, Tyler Hartman. He's playing in at third base now. Just made a great play, so usually you have a good offensive output. 1-1, or 0-2 to Hartman. Ninus, ready? Gets him swinging for the out.
Hartman strikes out for out number 1.
Brings up Braden Hoth,
Braden Holt, left fielder.
the left fielder. And then at top of the order, Isaac Sievert.
So he's like, I'll buy next round, you know, second round. So he puts up 25. She goes, that's not enough. It's 44.
And then I bought it.
Here's the pitch.
22 again.
Bunt,
I went to the wrong person.
Block.
I did.
or foul ball
Oh, well.
for Hoth.
Well, how come he? Just shut up. Here you go. That's with your.
Here's 44.50.
That's with your tip included.
Here's the next pitch. Offers for a strike. 0-2.
Well, let's order some chicken tenders and some fries. You know, it's just a bar. Like, I get money. So we ordered like 3-4 orders each, you know.
0-2.
Sitting there having a good time.
Strike 3 on the outside edge looking
Tenders left in the
And Holt goes down looking.
for the second out. Brings up top of the order, Isaac Sievert.
Center fielder, Isaac Sievert.
What's his name? Charlie. Wayne? Wayne, right?
No, that was a Plover.
Plover. Well, he coaches at Pacelli.
Oh, that's right.
He coaches at Plover too, doesn't he? The Black or no,
Black Sox.
Black Sox.
Here's the pitch.
Correct.
Oh,
Ball.
Good run, good run. 15 in a row. Is that what it was?
Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Ball one.
Ball.
Ninus ready to deliver.
That was a long night.
Right down the middle for a strike, 1-1.
I believe only do that one night a year.
I know. I just remember how the heck I got back to the hotel.
We don't know how we got to quit your phone cut back.
I know how I got
Fouled that one.
Oh yeah, turn left.
turn left.
1-2.
Turn left. We were back in Old Pond Quick Trip actually.
I don't know why we went to quit your phone.
We were hungry. We needed a few wings. Or tenders. I need something in there that didn't have any food up there, hot food. So I don't know, I had to-
Here's the pitch. Got him looking, and he ends up sitting him down with a strikeout.
Ball game.
And that's the end of the game. 6-1 for Ahnapee from Sturgeon Bay, post 72,
Teams for coming down this week.
with the victory for third place in this game. Thanks again for both teams for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.
Championship game.
We'll be here.
We'll start at 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
8 p.m. will be the start time for the championship game between Shawano and Waupun, post 210. Going to go down and talk to the coach for Shawano, see if we can get some of their information and their lineup quickly, and we'll be back for that championship game. You're listening to Jeff Sauer here on Jeff's Livestream. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. Thanks again for watching. Take care. God bless. And I can't wait to see you at the